That day, the police had also reportedly received information that 4 people were seen putting on rucksacks at Luton Station car park. Later on, police carried out 9 controlled explosions on the Micra. The Brava, which was apparently towed away because it didn't have a parking ticket, is later traced to Lindsay. By the 15th of July, the police had discovered identification for all 4 suspects at the 4 blast sites. 3 days later, the police made it public that they believed Shahzad Tanweer, Mohammed Sadiq Khan, Jermaine Lindsay and Asib Hussain were responsible for the blasts in 4 suicide attacks. The statement was couched in language which indicated the police had come to their analysis on the basis of limited circumstantial evidence. It was far from a firm conclusion. As the Intelligence and Security Committee stated in May 2006, the devices were almost certainly detonated manually by the bombers themselves in intentional suicide attacks. Police are, though, clear about one thing. The 4 men in no way fitted the established profile of a suicide bomber. Tanweer, 22, who lived in Leeds, was a sports science graduate who helped out with his family's business. Although he drove a Mercedes, he had supposedly hired a Nissan Micra, which was reportedly used as the vehicle to transport himself, Khan and Hussain to Luton. Staff at rental companies have been instructed by police not to disclose information to journalists or investigators. A number of sources have recalled Tanweer playing cricket with friends in Leeds the night before the bombings. According to the Home Office report, he was filmed at Woodall services on the M1, buying snacks and arguing with a member of staff over his change at 4:54 a.m, hours before the blasts. Hussain, 18, still lived with his parents and his brother in Leeds. He had completed his MVQs at college and had just been accepted to study a business degree. He was engaged to be married. Lindsay, 19, born in Jamaica, had lived in Britain since childhood. Married with a young son, he was expecting his 2nd child. A carpet fitter by trade, he lived in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire at the time of 7/7, but was reportedly considering moving to Leeds. Khan, 30, married with a daughter, was also expecting his 2nd child. The teaching assistant and youth worker from Leeds was highly praised by colleagues and students alike. Access to his local education authority file revealed that Khan had been trusted by the police to the point of helping them in work designed to combat the problem of gangs in Leeds. Evidence of Khan's pursuit of terrorism is far from conclusive. It's important to note that there are several reported terrorists with the name Mohammed Khan. Media stories of Khan's terrorist links, gleaned through anonymous security sources, remain unconfirmed. From what is known of Mohammed Sadiq Khan, it would seem unlikely that he could have been in a position to meet terrorists in Israel and the Philippines. The Home Office inquiry looked into these media allegations and found that they had no basis. Soon after the attacks, allegations surfaced of terrorist training and anti-Western indoctrination at gyms in Leeds, which Khan helped to run. The official narrative found these reports incomplete, conflicting, and based on hearsay. The Home Office admits it is difficult to be sure what the facts are. No reliable evidence has emerged that Tanweer, Hussain or Lindsay were motivated by religious and political issues to the point of violence. The men were almost certainly against the war in Iraq, a view shared by the majority of the British public. Millions of people have protested against the Iraq war in London. Why would any Islamic terrorist indiscriminately target people who have actively shown their contempt at the British government's decision to send troops to fight an illegal war? After the 7/7 bombings, the public was immediately told that the explosions bore the hallmarks of Al-Qaeda.
Has the hallmarks of Al-Qaeda.
It has the hallmarks of an Al-Qaeda-based organisation.
After the incident, the authorities changed their rhetoric about Al-Qaeda. Politicians were now referring to a movement rather than an international organisation.
What we are confronting here is an evil ideology.
The implication being that anyone could be part of Al-Qaeda without being connected to actual terrorists. In fact, the day after 7/7 and 4 weeks before his death, Robin Cook made the point in an article in The Guardian. Al-Qaeda, literally the database, was originally the computer file of the thousands of mujahideen who were recruited and trained with help from the CIA to defeat the Russians. The government narrative released in May 2006 makes it relatively clear that the four men had nothing to do with the somewhat mythical Al-Qaeda organization. In the days after 7/7, a claim on a website, hosted in America, was reported by the mainstream press as possible proof of an Al-Qaeda connection. The media covered the story, even though it was obvious anyone could make such a claim and post it on the net.
And your support of them makes you directly responsible.
The video released through Al Jazeera on the 1st of September 2005 did appear to portray political and religious motivation.
You will be our targets.
Those who knew Khan questioned the video's authenticity. The lip sync is certainly out at times, as if it had been heavily edited.
Imprisonment and torture.
Given that the video is of unknown provenance, it is highly unlikely it would be admissible as evidence in court. Other alleged Al-Qaeda videos have been deemed by many to be hoaxes. There has been no expert analysis of the video's credibility. The press insinuated that the video of Mohammed Sadiq Khan was evidence of his involvement with Al-Qaeda terrorists. Even if the video is completely authentic, Khan makes no reference in it to planning any attack. At first, the authorities stated that the men were clean skins, suspects who had not previously come to their attention. But shortly after 7/7, it was revealed that MI5 had terrorist records of Khan and Tanweer. If we look at the information in the public domain, then it certainly does appear that Khan may have intended to fight war in an occupied zone like Iraq or Palestine, especially if MI5's recording of him discussing jihad abroad is genuine. If the recording is authentic, then MI5 has serious questions to answer. If Khan did come to attention on the periphery of a terrorist investigation and was not a threat, as MI5 have asserted, then it is reasonable to speculate that he may have been an agent of the intelligence services. If this was the case, then he would have had to behave like an extremist in order to win the trust of those he was tasked to report on.
If these are clean skins, how can we blame the security services for not having been on their trail? As it's turned out, as I think was predictable and predicted, this has turned out to be not the case. Really, the level of information that was coming in about Khan, particularly if these American reports especially, which now seem to be being backed up by the actual American authorities, not just appearing in an author's book, that they tipped off the British about the specifics of Khan. And this was quite a serious plot in the United States that we were talking about, an attempt to blow up synagogues and so on. The amount of information coming in and the quality of information coming in, the fact that that has been so consistently overlooked, it would appear, by the security service MI5, to me suggests really only one of two options. Either A, we've got a level of incompetence that would be unusual even for the security service, but B, possibly, and this is a possibility, that his man Khan may even have been working as an informant for the security service. It's difficult otherwise to see how it can be that they've so covered his tracks in the interim.
Since the bombings, information has been leaked to the press, rather than being officially released to the public, or seemingly, even the government. The time has come for our laws to change. It is no longer acceptable that the intelligence services can hide behind a veil of secrecy and play games with the media and the government. From my own experience of working within the intelligence services, I know that MI6 runs agents of influence within terrorist groups. I also know that the secret services provide forged documentation and safe houses to the terrorists they're working with to help them evade detection and capture. Former US Attorney General and current terrorism expert John Loftus told Fox News that Aswat had been arrested in 1999 in connection with a terrorist training camp. He had been later released after MI6 had interceded on his behalf. The clear implication was that Aswat was an MI6 agent.